3, 2, 1, fill your cup up and chug. Roll the joint up and get fucked. With anyone gets your body. Bury down into the Maritimes.
One.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Black in the Maritimes. I'm Fidel.
I'm Hillary.
I'm Marcus.
I'm Clinton.
And Alon is in mute, so he's having some technical difficulties, so we'll have to
You can't press the space bar no more?
No, it just cut him right out. It was like, no, we're not doing this today.
No, it's definitely not Alon's day. It's not definitely not doing that today. So while Alon gets that fixed, we'll figure it out. I think once you figure it out, just say, hey, and we're like, okay, go.
or he can just call in. I'll have to call in.
Yeah, one of the two. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and while Alon gets this stuff going on, we're gonna talk about the new inauguration of Joe Biden. Joe Biden just he went from president-elect to president, along with Kamala Harris, making her the first woman vice president, the first black woman vice president, the first mixed race black president, the first Indian American black vice president, and making her the first Jamaican American vice president. So
the first
that's
Jedi
a lot.
vice president.
Yeah, that's a lot. So
Marcus didn't get my joke.
I mean, I was gonna ask Alon, since Alon is the American, but he's having some technical issues. But we're gonna ask Hillary, what do you think this means for America, having like a woman that's vice president and a black woman?
I mean, I straight up cried watching her get like inaugurated in. I couldn't handle it that day. I hope that it means that there's more opportunities for more women and black women and mixed race women. I think it's definitely a start. I'm not going to say out loud that I'm hoping that Biden passes away so that she becomes president, but oh, what if that would happen? Wouldn't that be interesting? So I'm very pumped about this. I hope that it's a lot of good. I know that she's like, a lot of people though do seem blinded by this. There's a few things I've heard of that she's done politically that maybe are not great, but not all politicians are perfect. But I think overall it's an amazing thing. I'm very excited about it.
Marcus?
Well, he doesn't have to die for her to become president. He just has to not be fit.
Fair.
Touché.
That is fair, but the last person didn't seem too fit and we still had 4 years of it. So
Yeah, but that's because the vice
Also a good
president didn't. That's because the vice president didn't say anything and didn't do anything, and Congress also didn't do anything.
that's fair.
And to me, what this symbolizes is what I've been saying. I don't know. I should probably do musings on this. Is how, to me, it's about goddamn fucking time that we got black women in power. And like, it's just Cleopatra was a queen, and we just got a vice president now in 2021. Are you kidding me? Like, well, how is this just now? Why is it just now? And also, you can even look at film and TV and comic books. There's just women are just crushing it. Women have been crushing it, but they have never been getting the light that they deserve. They've been nothing but getting slashed in our music and slashed in our media, and it's crazy. It's about damn time this changes, because to me, this tells my little nieces that they can be prime minister, and it tells all the little immigrant girls that when they come to this country that they can be vice president or president if they want, or prime minister. They can rule their country if they want. If it's a democratic country.
We've had a female prime minister though.
Have we?
Yep.
Yeah, Kathleen. I
And
don't know her name.
Kim Campbell?
Yes.
Kim
I think
someone?
so.
We're
So,
more
like,
progressive. We're more
Yeah.
progressive than the States, though. We always have. been.
Yeah, exactly. We're not as far behind, but like to your point, there is a famous line that the most disrespected person in America is the black woman. So that's like, obviously it takes us long. I'm very happy.
What about you, Clinton?
I think it's just another barrier knocked down and another door opened in regards to what is possible. We as humans, we believe by seeing a lot of the times, and just for a young girl or a young boy, in terms of seeing what's possible, this is that next step in the potential of black people and what we can achieve. When you're talking about things like the 100-meter dash, and records being set, the world records are never broken by 2 seconds, by 3 seconds. It's always by 1,000th of a second, 100th of a second. Once a human racer knows that something is possible, they push a little bit harder and try to break down to the next level. So this is great. Marcus, you asked, why is it only taken until now? I think we all know.
No, we know. We all know.
Racism.
Well, not even racism, because you never even had a white woman up in there. It's
and sexism.
They just straight up made it a fucking boys' club this whole goddamn time, and they just fucked the whole world up. And specifically, they fucked their country up.
It's nice. It's nice to see. It's another barrier knocked down, and it's all about the youth, right? It shows them what's possible.
I think
I just want to say my favorite thing, Fidel, right now online, if you look it up, is you can see, like, when Michelle came on, the reactions. I sent one to Hillary like a couple days ago. Oh man, it's so good. It was, look at Michelle, child. Look at what she's wearing. That is a black woman. Honorable Obama. Like, it's another great stepping stone of breaking down, like Clinton said, breaking down the walls, breaking down barriers for our people and our culture. And I'm happy about it.
Also, I think that, this symbolizes the power that America has. Because, I mean, we're talking about Kamala Harris, a big deal. But, I mean, the world has had women like Margaret Thatcher. We have that new president of New Zealand, which she's doing an amazing job.
Yep.
I mean, there's been women in power for a long, long time. And at this point, it's amazing the power that the United States has, because we all paid attention to Kamala Harris. So, I mean, that's something that it's unbelievable. Now, Alon just got back. Say hi, Alon.
Back.
Can we hear
His
you?
mic's working good. It's working good. Say something, Al.
No,
He doesn't
he's
look
not
happy.
hearing us.
I'm not sure if he's hearing us or if it's working.
I feel like he can't hear us, but it's unmuted.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at the time that we'll get to Al in a minute, but like I said,
But also,
I think it's a little bit amazing how we pay attention to the United States of everything that happens there, because everybody, like the whole, like, I don't know if you guys saw this, that in India, they were celebrating because her mother, or I think her mother is from there, and the village was celebrating.
Listen, man, you of all people should understand. You're not from this country, so you should understand the amount of pride it would feel from someone from your country succeeding, and not only the world arena, but literally, fam, the second highest point of power on the planet.
Yeah, and I mean, with America, it's the reason we watch them so much is because they're one of their greatest exports, though, is their media. It's their Hollywood. It's their TV shows, their music, their movies. We all are a part of American culture because that's what we consume all around the world. No matter what language you speak, people know American superstars and listen to American music and watch American movies. So with politics, it's the same. Well, of course, they're the global power, but we just watch America. That's what the world does.
So let's see if Alon can talk. Alon, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Hey. You're good. You're there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so let's
Welcome
ask
to
you,
2021.
as an American black man, what does it feel to have a black woman as vice president of the United States?
You know what? That's a very interesting question because I don't know how to answer that. I'm happy. Question mark. I think I'm more about seeing things get done, right? And I think in all reality, Biden, if they were smart, Biden would only be the figurehead guy.
Yep.
And behind the scenes, Miss Harris will be calling the shots.
Yep.
He would just be the white male dude coming out to deliver the shit off the cue cards that she told him to say, which I think is happening already. Like, I think honestly, in those meetings, like if you look at all the appointments that Biden has made so far, like for his team, you know, she's calling the shots completely. Everything she says, you know, he's like, yeah, absolutely. Yep. You know, he's the yes guy. And I think Biden's smart enough to know that he's got the presidency. So that's been a lifelong goal of his. And I think he realized that this is not the time nor the place. And I don't think it's in his personality to be one to try to grandstand and take that spot.
Yeah,
I think he's very much looking to have a team. I think he's willing to listen to counsel. And I think that, honestly, I think that she's going to be
Now I think something. I think if you guys haven't read Obama's book, A Promised Land, I highly recommend it. I highly recommend the book. Biden, Joe Biden is a team player. Even Obama says it himself that he's a guy that he's not like I am the guy that knows more. He's a guy that he's a deal maker and he listens to everybody and tries to make sure that everything, like, he doesn't take his decision, he tries to take the right decision. So I think she will have a lot to do because he listens to whatever the experts have to say. Like, if you see him now, Dr. Fauci is like talking. It's not Donald Trump or he's not afraid. He's just saying what he needs to say, and it's not like a controversy. So I really think it's going to be a change. We just have to wait and see what happens. But yeah.
So I want to say one more thing, man. This is the time for atonement. I see a lot of people in comment sections and on Twitter and on Facebook a lot saying that, oh, Kamala locked up a whole bunch of black men. Oh, Joe Biden supported the 94 crime bill and he supported all of this and that, and he was racist. And this is the time for atonement. People forget that Malcolm was a pimp before he became Malcolm X.
I mean,
you know what I mean? Like you got to let people atone, and he has been. He has been. You didn't see this man spitting any kind of rhetoric. I want to say, like, throughout even before Obama and him, he stopped doing that rhetoric real quick.
But I think it's just politics. I mean, the politics that were in the 90s is not the same as the 2000s,
exactly,
right? So
and that's one thing that people don't take into consideration is the 90s and how different of a time it was.
Even in the 80s, but yeah, that's definitely things.
I like I'll put in the chat that he watched the crack documentary that's on Netflix. I watched it too, man, and that pivotal, like show, like the media set, like the couple episodes that they focus on the media just shows you the tone of that era. Yeah, and if you watch Straight Outta Compton as well as the Wu-Tang, I just finished the Wu-Tang series on that's on Hulu right now. I just finished that today. Fuck, man, they like the racism that those men dealt with, and that, like, and what Al dealt with in that time growing up. Fuck, man, crazy. I probably would be killed, man. I'm pretty thankful I'm up here.
Well, like I said, I think it's all politics, but congratulations to Vice President Harris. Hopefully it's a moment in history for sure. But another moment in history that we have to talk is the other side, which is Donald Trump. When the inciting the riots in January 6th, social platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Shopify, Instagram, Snapchat, and the list goes on, just banned
Pinterest.
Donald Trump. Pinterest.
I was gonna just say that. That's my favorite
Listen,
one.
you know
Spotify,
what?
Apple Music.
You got to
No
take
more
it all
uploading
away.
pictures of cupcakes for Donald Trump.
Yeah, they're like, no home decor, no playlist, no hate playlist. Fuck that.
The funny one is TikTok. He was trying to ban TikTok, and TikTok banned him, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is a great stroke of irony.
But nevertheless, he's not been the only one. The social media app Parler, which a lot of the rioters and terrorists, because they're terrorists, were inciting violence to the social media app, and Amazon decided to take the web services, Apple decided to just take out of the App Store. So did Google. Now there is a little bit of a conundrum saying that it's censoring free speech. So we're gonna discuss that. So we're gonna go with Alon, because Alon, I know you have a little bit to say about that. What's your take on it?
I think first off, you guys can hear me okay, right?
Yes.
All right, cool. So first off, I agree with Pinterest, because Donald Trump would find any avenue to get his message out, and I think covering all bases was very wise. Number two, the problem that I have with the argument of censorship and infringing on freedom of speech is the fact, and we kind of touched on this last week a little bit, is that freedom of speech is cool as long as it's not inciting or encouraging or enabling people into violent acts, right? It's much like the example of not being able to yell fire in a movie theater. You can't do that, right? If there's no fire, you cannot do that. Why? Because you are calling people to take upon an action that may cause harm. There may be a stampede, someone gets locked in, someone trips and hits their head, all because you decided to use freedom of speech and yell the word fire when there was none. So the whole argument of freedom of speech and, people worried about, if it is a slippery slope for social media, I don't think it is. I think the fact that Donald Trump for 4 years armored and enabled a demographic to use violence. And they said, well, you know what? It's free speech, meh, whatever. And they took all the views and took all the ad revenue. Same for every other, streaming platform and any other social media platform. So, they don't get it. They don't get a pat on the back for me. They don't get a handshake for me. You know what? It's too little, too late. If you're any sort of news or media, social or otherwise, and you are an outlet and you didn't nip this shit in the bud from day one, you do not get a medal now because he's out of office, and you decide, well, the damage has been done and he's not relevant anymore, so I guess we'll ban him now. It's way too little, too late.
Okay, what about you, Marcus? What's your take on it?
Well, like I said last week, and I agree with Al, it's a little too late. We've inherently seen what happens when you let the speech fly, you let that hate speech go. You have real bigots like Donald Trump, Tommy Lahren. You have real dangerous people like Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro, all able to have their free speech. They literally dance between the two. That's literally how I feel their careers are, is dancing between the two and making you think what freedom of speech is. The moment that you incite hate, the moment that you infringe on someone else's rights, that's automatic. You're getting the fuck out. And everybody forgot that these are all privately owned companies as well. So the moment that they started infringing on their terms and conditions, they should have been banned, just like the average Joe gets banned for making obscene posts 2-3 times, and boom, their whole account gets down. There's regular people I know that have just straight meme accounts that also use it for conversations with people as well and commenting, and they have 3 or 4 profiles because the shit that they do is just outrageous and they just don't give a shit. Why? Because they're from the era where the internet's a playground, and the lines have changed quite dramatically to that. It's no longer a playground. People have lost their jobs over what they've done and what they posted. And the same thing should be these these companies need to be held accountable at the end of the day, and they're not. They're just they literally pulled. It's like the last scene in Training Day, man, when fucking Denzel Washington is going down and the whole neighborhood is just standing there watching. It's literally I could make that a meme and that would go viral, man, in the Black community because everybody's seen that fucking movie, and that's so relevant. Everybody in the Democratic Party that was supporting him is backtracking. Every single platform that was okay with that kind of hate speech is backpedaling. Oh shit, this man really incited a riot? What the fuck did you think was going to happen, man? You're lucky that's all that happened. We're damn lucky that's all that happened. We're damn fucking lucky AOC wasn't with fucking that Republican girl that was tweeting the locations. Damn lucky. Because they were looking for her.
So what about you, Hillary? What's your take on it?
I completely agree. I was going to say the same thing as Marcus said, that like it's also like there's onus on the companies. They let this go on for too long, but they also like they're allowed to do whatever they want with the people that are subscribed to use their platforms. They could have and should have done this a lot sooner, but it's not free speech when you're using their platform. You can try to say what you want, but like, as I know a lot of women experience, like our stuff gets taken down all the time for just, being a slightly racy photo. And I've never seen many wars, well, except for the like Helen of Troy, not many wars over titties anymore, but like Donald Trump's allowed to do all of this and you can't have a nipple on a screen. So it's definitely not just or fair. I'm like glad that this happened, but it took way too long. It's just so stupid how long it took for someone to do something about this.
Wow. What are you okay, Marcus?
You all right, man?
COVID?
Yeah.
No, he's just
smoking a joint.
That mute button on the front of your microphone there.
Gotta call before you can walk.
So what about you, Clinton? What's your take on it?
My take is similar to all of your guys' takes. Hopefully I'll put a little bit of a different twist on it as well. It's really not a slippery slope banning Donald Trump from all these sites in terms of democracy, freedom of speech, and stuff like that. And I found it really interesting, some of the world leaders that were talking out against it, calling it problematic, like the leader of Germany and some other things. Like Fidel reminded us last week, it's free speech rights apply to citizens under the government. Pardon me?
Why? Why go Germany?
Because they're saying it's a slippery slope towards complete censorship and people's inability to speak out, freedom of speech.
Oh, wait, what? Hang on. The German Prime Minister, she went and said that?
Angela.
Well, she technically did not.
A couple other leaders said that.
So there's a concern in the. I didn't know this. There's a concern in the political elite that what they're doing is bad.
Certain world leaders have spoken up to say that banning Donald Trump, banning anyone from social media, is a violation.
Well, I think, and I'm gonna clear that up a little bit because I kind of read the article. But go ahead, Clinton. Sorry about that.
No, I don't care. It's fine. The point is, though,
I didn't know this.
So freedom of speech applies for citizens under the government, a right to free speech. It doesn't apply to private companies. And alluding to what Alon said, these companies aren't holy. They're not righteous. They didn't do this out of the goodness of their hearts or because to fight hate or violence or racism. These companies profit equally off of racism and anti-racism. They don't care. They don't care what the opinions are. They don't care what the sentiment is. As long as the people are posting and scrolling and seeing ads on their news feeds or marketplace or stories, these social media companies don't give a shit what's being said. So the fact that they're trying to act like they care now is ridiculous. What my concern is that we use sites like Facebook like they're human rights or necessities like water, but they're not. They're just social media sites. I can sign up to Wix or any other website and I can create a social media site in 5 minutes. What I'm afraid of is if extremists and people like Candace Owens and alt-left people can somehow get enough people off of these sites like Facebook onto other social media sites where they can grow by the hundreds of thousands and millions, where they can spread their hate, organize hate freely without a private company like Facebook blocking them at all. Like what that could lead to. A lot of the craziness that happens nowadays is organized on social media sites. Facebook at least tries to control that a bit just for their public image. But if all these extremists all get off Facebook and all start using something else, I feel like the potential for real organized hatred and violence could increase tenfold. That's my concern.
Isn't there already...
Yeah, there are, but they're not as
chat rooms and websites and
of course,
forums set up for that already.
But they don't have the reach of Facebook.
Oh,
and if something like banning Donald Trump off, if Donald Trump starts endorsing some other social media site and gets it, if he doesn't go to jail, and makes that really popular and gets millions of racists on it all at the same time, think of their power to organize unhindered by company policies.
Now, do you think a Candace Owens and a Tommy Lahren or a Tucker Carlson could make that move? Endorse an app like that?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
Not at all. Not at all.
I think Candace Owens is so
I will say this
persuasive. Go ahead.
No, I will say this since I know people. I know people.
Hang on. I love the unanimous no. I love the unanimous no. That's not happening. I love that. I love this podcast, man.
Well, think about it. I mean, if you think about it, and this is what I will say, because I know people in all of those companies. I know people in Facebook. I know people that work at Twitter. I know people that work at Google. I know people that work at Amazon. In some in lower places and some in higher places. But you have to take a look at this. The biggest markets are not necessarily the United States. They're like India, Brazil, other places. So they don't. That's the United States is a big market, but that's not the only market. But what Clinton said, what the Angela Merkel and other leaders are saying, which I agree, is that there's too much power in four companies. Like if you look at Google, Apple, Amazon, and Facebook, they control almost 85% of the internet, which is crazy. Like it's insane that Jeff Bezos, if he wanted to shut down half of the internet, he really could. Just one guy could do that. If Mark Zuckerberg wanted to start some type of thing, he could do it too, right?
Right,
so,
but for anyone,
hang on though, is Amazon able to do that because of the servers that they own?
Yeah, the AWS, the cloud services.
Okay.
But that's no one's fault. But that's no one's fault. But you know, democracy and capitalism. Like, for everyone to jump on the bandwagon now and be like, oh, we're scared. Like, they should have thought about that before they let Facebook and Amazon get as big as they are. Like,
no
the arguments that are happening now seem to be redundant, and it seemed to be too late in the conversation. Everyone knew Facebook was getting to the size. Everyone saw Amazon getting to the size.
Remember something, and that's one of the things that we have to understand. We have to understand the rules. For example, Europe has been trying to do this, but if we go to the United States, which is where Donald Trump is, there's something called Section 230. That Section 230 basically tells you that social media is not it's not accountable for the people, if not the people themselves. So the platform, if I say something criminal, it's on me, not on Facebook. Now, what people are trying to do is that Section 230, they're trying to not repeal it, but modify it. But it's a quite complicated process. However, what people are saying, which I agree with, is not the free market. Is that if remember, Instagram and WhatsApp were separate companies, and they get bought. What's happening is that if you get something like Snapchat, which is a great example, Snapchat was rising, and Facebook wanted to buy it. So Facebook couldn't buy it, so they copied it. And since they have way more money, they're able to just block the little guy. So in a sense, that's a bit of a monopoly. That's ruthless.
Or if you're like Vine, because that's what happened with Vine as well too, right? Didn't Facebook buy Vine?
No, Twitter bought it.
Twitter bought Vine.
Twitter bought it and just shut it down. And they just shut it down. That's what they did. They just eliminated it. So the concern is, and this is the concern that a lot of world leaders has, is that if I'm a German app, let's say that I do the next Facebook, and it's going really, really well, because this company has so much money and so much power, they're able just to copy me, dig me into the ground, and there's nothing I could do because I don't have the funds to do it.
Okay, but again, that leads to my point. Everyone, you see this coming.
You should have.
Like
you could have foreseen all of that happening, because you have apps that MySpace, for example, was a big one that was very big and then just disappeared.
But that's the thing. Like, I think that's why people need to be more involved in politics. Like, if we look at the United States and even Canada, well, let's go say with New Brunswick. New Brunswick is filled. Our government is a bunch of old white men that don't understand technology. So these guys would not know what would happen, and these are elected officials that could actually do something. But nevertheless, what I will say is this: Alex Jones and a couple of people got banned from everything. The same thing happened to Donald Trump, and they're still around.
See, I don't think Alex Jones should have gotten banned solely because.
Well,
it's entertainment, man.
No, Alex Jones is a problem, though. He's a problem.
He was lying. He was
yeah, exactly. He's a problem.
He was lying. He said that kids got murdered he said that kids that got murdered were actors.
But he also said that Epstein was touching children in like
in
2006.
So was Courtney Love, but like no one's giving her a medal. Like I'm just saying that like Alex Jones to me is a problem because he went from being, this investigative reporter who was actually doing deep dives into real shit
and Bohemian Grove
and made money, and it went to his head, and then he started fabricating shit. That's a problem. That's a clear problem. But
you can classify that in the entertainment section.
No, but that's not entertainment though, because people they take that shit. People take him seriously. They still take him as a serious investigative deep dive reporter.
Who's that? It's the guy from InfoWars? The guy from InfoWars, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't claim it. Like, here's the thing with entertainment.
That's like calling Fox News entertainment, right?
But but I see what Fidel's going to say. I get that.
But here's the difference between Alex Jones. If Alex Jones puts a disclaimer as entertainment, and if he puts his blog as entertainment, if he says it's entertainment,
that's exactly what I mean.
But he never did that.
He doesn't do that.
Right, but what I'm saying is he's forced to do that. If you want to go back on these platforms, these are the rules that you have to These are the rules that you have to abide by.
Now, and the other thing is that
that'll fall under the goddamn censorship rule. But you have to say okay to that because you're getting access to over half the world's population, if not more.
And the other thing with Alex Jones is that Alex Jones was saying classified, which is not true. Like, he was saying things about the government, which he's under the free speech. However, when you say things that are not true about the government, that's not free speech. That's lies.
But he was saying that the government was spying on people with their phone and through their emails, and then Edward Snowden confirmed that like 4 years later, just like how Epstein got confirmed. Like shit, you have to watch him and Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan fact checks everything that he says.
I saw the
checks everything.
I saw the last episode that he did with Joe.
Yeah.
It was not that bang on. Like he came close to some. He was off on a lot. Like the whole thing about like there being no global warming and like that there's more. His whole description of like crazy. How CO2 like that was all off. I mean he was right about the Illuminati camps and all that, but that was old news that he had reported decades ago that made his career.
But that's the thing.
So then that's why I say that it should be entertainment, because if he did that early in his career, you can't keep holding on to that in 2020 if you did that shit 30 years ago.
The difference is, you just said the difference right there. When you look at Joe Rogan is a comedian, and he's an entertainer. He's an entertainer.
Not a good one either. Holy.
No.
Yeah, he's an entertainer. He in no way, shapes, or form tries to say any journalistic type of coverage.
Yeah,
that's the main difference. But moving on from that, what we will say is that
I revoke my statement.
Thank you.
Just in case, Marcus is the conspiracy theory on this podcast, so we'll leave him at that. But anyways.
But I'm not. I am and I'm not. Like there's certain things.
This is twice since I've joined.
You say you are all the time.
There's certain ones that I can't. I just don't touch, or that are just too outlandish. And then there's some that are just like, that's crazy. I'm gonna watch that. Like the flat Earth. There's like so many documentaries of it. That is a whole fucking like industry.
Flat earther.
No, God no. I can't be a flat earther. It makes no sense. I've been on the ocean. I've flown out of this country. I've seen the arc. I've been near the equator.
How far out have you flown that you've seen the arc? Wait.
Okay, let's move on before we get to another whole bullshit. All right. So
the Earth is like was it Kyrie that said that the Earth was flat?
Oh my God! No! We're not even going to that. We're not even mentioning that. Anyways,
because that's not true. That's the crazy one. Now the fascinating one is all the documents that have been declassified and a crazy data dump that happened 3 weeks ago.
Okay, let's move on.
Are we on a different podcast? No. Am I on the podcast where Marcus outs himself as the like weird alien conspiracy theorist? This is no longer about pop culture and relevant news. This is shit Marcus
This is relevant news because it's been on New York Times.
Everything's relevant because we're black in the Maritimes, and a black person can have those theories. That's the point.
Okay, but moving on.
I'm gonna go find the article right now.
Let's go to Canada where we live. If you haven't heard, the Keystone XL pipeline has been shut down by Joe Biden, and the premier of Alberta, Jason Kenney, is making a fuss about it. Now, I will say this: Jason Kenney is fucked because he's like a horrible premier. He's been doing. This is the only thing that he had. That's it. This is it.
And he didn't even do this right.
Yeah?
And he didn't do this right.
Yeah, this is the only thing that he had. He has screwed up COVID, screwed up the economy, and now he's making a fuss about it. And it's like he is desperate. So what do you guys think about it?
I think honestly the man's a joke. But at the same time, he is a perfect example of the type of characters that Donald Trump's presidency enabled. Idiots who figure that their bolster and their ridiculous personalities of assholism were enough to get them elected and enough to get them through their term. This guy had no plan. He has no plan. You can't be stomping, you know what, we're in 2021. You can't be stomping on native land and digging around and taking resources anymore without repercussion. And you can't be destroying the environment like you used to. Like, that's not going to fly anymore. Climate change is a real issue. The Earth needs to do an about-face and do a 180. We only have one planet. Millions of scientists and millions of independent studies are not wrong. We are losing species of insects, of mammals, of birds, of plants because of the effects that we have caused on this planet. But as far as him as a person, again, this is the type of idiot that Donald Trump brought to the surface. And this is the type of guy that people thought, because of Donald Trump's example, that he was going to be capable because he had a big fucking mouth. And the fact of the matter is that a big mouth is not enough to get things done in politics. You got to know what you're doing. And you know what? Alberta thinks they're fucking king shit anyway because they got a bunch of oil. And because, you know what, they've been riding high off the oil for so long, they think they're untouchable. I don't know what to tell them right now. Like, you know what? They need to just join the rest of the country and realize that, you know what? Shit's real for everybody. You're not the only one. You lost a pipeline. Boo-hoo. Diversify. That's what I have to say. But I'm an American, so you guys take over and tell me what you think.
Hillary?
I 100% agree. I hated the pipeline from the start. I think we need to be looking into, like, other methods of, like, creating energy. I think that we need to find more renewable resources instead of killing the planet. I think that it was complete bullshit. I agree completely on everything that Al said about it being on, like, sacred native land and how completely disrespectful that was, how detrimental that was to the Reconciliation Act and everything we've been trying to do to actually honor Native people. We've been saying to their faces we're going to do all of these things and then literally spit on them by even going forth with this. And I completely agree. Alberta has everything. They've got oil, they've got like the lowest tax, they've got everybody from New Brunswick who doesn't want to stay. All those young people just go over there. So you can bounce back from this. It's not that big of a deal. And I saw a meme that was really funny that said something about what they should do with all the extra piping is run clean water to all the native people who don't have any. So you know what? There's other issues we could be worrying about than this.
I don't know a lot about Jason Kenney, and I don't really care. So I'll just take this time to send a message out to all those people who don't believe in global warming. Like, the fuck are you talking about? You depend on scientists and their research to create your cars that you drive, your cell phones, your condoms. You trust and believe in all that, but you can't believe these same people who are telling you that you're destroying the planet and we're all going to die. Like, the fuck?
It's okay, man.
Global warming's real because the scientists said so. Because there's millions of them, and all they do is dedicate their entire life to research. That's real.
Right. So what I've said this before on the podcast. Like what we're seeing now are people arguing with the people that would have gotten picked on and you would have copied their homework off of in school. So take that mentality and trust what they're fucking saying because they've dedicated their whole lives to this shit. And I'm sick and tired of seeing, like, I'm just tired of hearing about Alberta and their boohooing. Like, I'm sick of it. I'm fucking tired of it.
Like,
they pay way too. They don't pay enough in tax. And someone that grew up in a province that has been historically poor my entire life, it's ridiculous that they're not on the same. We're not on the same playing field. Like, yeah, you have all the pipeline and all this oil. We have the refinery. I live in the goddamn side town that Irving is in, and we're the lowest. We're the highest tax in the fucking in the country. It makes no goddamn sense. I'm tired of it, man. These old people got to go, man. The old people got to go. These people with fucking Trump fucking rhetoric got to go. Like Ford's got to go. Kearney's got to go. O'Toole's got to go. I'm sick of it, man. I'm sick of it.
Homeboy Higgs too, please.
Higgsy too. Yeah. Uncle Higgsy too, man. He's got a dip. I'm sick and tired of it. You know how I know this is a problem? When I go on the website to change my address and it's consistently down. It's 2021. You shouldn't have an HTML5 fucking website, first of all.
To be fair, in the middle of COVID,
I don't understand how you're not on Skillshare, getting someone on Skillshare to build that shit, or go on Fiverr to get someone to do it for $5.
The entire national student loan website was down for like 3 months in the middle of COVID, and that was national. And they changed my dates of returning my money 3 times. So, like, it's not just New Brunswick. The whole country, I don't think, is very tech savvy. We don't know what's going on. That's
what I mean. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
Well, it makes perfect sense because you have these old fucking people that are in charge, and there's this new wave of technology, and there's this new wave of that. They're okay. They want us all to live like this, but you don't give us the means.
That makes me think, man. Marcus, you're saying that all these old people got to go. 40 years from now, I wonder what younger people are going to be saying about us. But all the things that we were so wrong about, and all the ridiculous things that we have to change because
I don't.
40 years, we won't be in politics, and we'll know our place, and it'll be people who are our age now in politics.
What I wholeheartedly tell myself, I'm in the age group now of being considered an old head, and leading up to an old head, I wholeheartedly decided to consistently listen to new music. Always.
Speaking of, guys, is this the moment?
Always.
Is this the moment that we all sing Hillary happy birthday today?
Yeah, true. Okay, let's do this.
1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to Okay, let's not do this. Let's forget it. Let's not do it.
This is horrible.
At completely
it's a Zoom call.
Times.
Happy birthday, Hillary. If anyone didn't know,
thank you so much.
20. What is it? Your 21st birthday?
Wow.
21st plus 6. Yes.
Wow.
Thank you.
So having that said, Hillary, take away the topic. So we're the last topic about makeup industry.
No, I will let you. Whoever needs to finish, please finish, because that was sudden. Marcus, did you have more to say?
Oh no, I'm good. Go ahead. Let's talk about the makeup industry.
Yay! So, Well, to be fair, so I wrote a blog about like the remaining underlying issues that I find, and as the resident makeup expert, the person who works there at least once a week still despite this pandemic, which would be a whole nother topic for another day as to why we're still letting people buy makeup during this pandemic, because is makeup essential? I know that we, like, the last time we talked about this, talked about how Rihanna had made all of these good moves and how we were finally letting Black people have foundation and how all of that was positive. And I definitely feel that it is. I talked a bit in my blog about the fact that, unfortunately, New Brunswick, where I grew up and where you all are, was so behind in the game. And I didn't realize it until I moved here, because the companies literally send the makeup that they think will sell to the stores. So it wasn't even so much that there was no color choices for Black people from, let's say, the whole company of Maybelline. It was the fact that New Brunswick wasn't getting Maybelline's black shades. But as soon as I switched to Shoppers in Ontario, I see all of this diversity in color range. And I had no idea that that was happening behind the scenes, because why would they tell me that? And I just find the other issues that I have are that the makeup schools, the beauty schools that we go to, despite all this progress, they still don't teach Black skincare. And I don't think that people know that there's Black skincare. But there is. Like, there is a fundamental difference. And it's funny to say because we all want to be like, all skin is the same and all skin is beautiful. But to try to remove like acne scarring or hyperpigmentation from a Black person, a person of color, is a completely different process than a white person, to the point where I used a product to get rid of my dark spots. The product thought that I was an entire dark spot, and I bleached my face when I was 18 years old and went like 3 shades whiter. So like there's still all of these different issues, and I don't know if you're aware of them. I don't know if the women in your life talk about these issues. Do you know that nude pantyhose is still a white person's beige, and then there's Black, and that there's no brown pantyhose still, and we're 2021? These are my issues.
I think you forget, Hillary, that we're in New Brunswick, so most of the women that we mostly had were white. Most of them, not all of them.
Do women?
But there's a whole other. That's a whole other thing to go into.
That's a different episode. That's a different episode.
You can talk about having your musings.
Pantyhose?
No.
And tights.
Pardon?
And like pantyhose.
Yes.
So, well, they all have
Legging.
different,
yeah.
I think that, like, a legging is for working out and to wear as, like, a pant.
I'll give you an example. Where I work, it's dress code that the women can't wear leggings.
Yeah, like, I can't wear leggings or yoga pants at Shoppers Drug Mart, but I can wear a knee-length dress with pantyhose underneath. Because pantyhose is just supposed to be sheer. It's not supposed to give you any warmth, and it's supposed to just be, like, something that like makes you look classy under a dress, whereas a legging is thick, it's opaque, there's no transfer, you can't see your skin underneath.
That depends on who wears it.
It does. It does, but my problem, like the reason, like I've had many friends be like, we're going out dancing tonight, and especially like my clubbing days in the winter in Moncton, we're going to Rouge, it's February, you're still gonna wear that mini skirt and you're not gonna wear pantyhose. And I would say no, because the pantyhose is either going to be black, which is makes a woman look boxy to have black and then like let's say a red skirt, or it's going to be this white beige that's not the color that I am. Like, nude is supposed to mean naked. The color that I am naked is supposed to be what the pantyhose looks like on me. And instead it's either white or it's, like, the blackest of black. So I've never worn pantyhose, which is still a thing.
You've never seen,
But I think it's
putting on her panties and then it rips. And it's because it's her only pair of, like, black and she can't wear, like, the white one. Man, I've seen multiple movies like that.
Forget movies. That was my mom's life. Like, that was just because my mom was an assistant school teacher. Like, that was her life. Like, and it's funny that you say that's still an issue. Because I remember my mom buying the legs that came in the egg-shaped freaking container. And she would buy the black ones, obviously. But that was the only color there was. There was like black, like you said, the white or the black. That was it.
Yeah.
I think there might have been a brown somewhere in there, but it was too dark for her complexion. So she would just stick with the black ones.
They only just finally came out with brown Band-Aids, and when they announced that, I was like,
that's exactly what I was going to say.
Were Band-Aids supposed to blend into my skin? Then why did they have SpongeBob on them some years? I didn't know it was supposed to match my skin, but now they finally have, like, nude range Band-Aids and also nude multiple color range ballet slippers, which I didn't know that that it was also supposed to resemble your skin tone. I thought it was like a pink satin.
Yeah. No, I knew ballerinas was supposed to be one silhouette image, right? So.
Uncultured swine, apparently. I had no idea.
No, listen, it's
Marcus, did you switch
information.
Coffee cups?
But it's finally having that, but...
I did. I have one. I have a coffee cup with coffee in it. Spider-Man cup of tea.
But I think I'm gonna say this. I think one of the things that happens with that thing with the makeup industry and the fashion industry is that they took black people for granted for all of these years, for decades, and they found it cool because they're stealing for black culture, and then once they steal for black culture and they're making money about it, and now we're saying like, hold the fuck up, you're making money out of us and you're not getting things for us. I think that's the change right now. I think the change is that like we're calling them out. People are calling out all of these industries, saying like, you made money with us for this many years and you never did shit for us.
See, I don't know if it's just happening now, Fidel, though. I think it's always been a cry of the black community. That's why when you went in the hood, you had your beauty supply stores that would, have primarily black products for black hair, for black skin. Like I know in the Bronx, we had these tiny little beauty supply stores on every corner, almost every corner anyway, with that carried... Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like they would have the cocoa butter sticks, and they would have, the hair for the extensions. Like they would have the things that you couldn't get for black women, for Latino women, for women of color. So I don't think this is not the first time that the black or brown community has said, listen, you're not making shit for us at all. You're absolutely right about them constantly making money off of black culture. I think the difference now is that Rihanna had enough money to actually do something on a grand corporate scale. You've had plenty of small black businesses try to make product, but I think Rihanna just had that money and had that influence and had that clout and made the right partnerships where she literally could change the game.
Yeah.
And I think that's the major difference, is that she changed the game and made corporate America take notice. But for decades, black women have been saying, listen, this is bullshit. Like, they've been getting their stuff from other little stores and things and that and making it happen. So I wouldn't say it's just happening now. It's an outcry. I think just the corporate entity of Fenty is just what's making everyone stand on end. But you know what? But Hillary's right as well. It's same with clothing out here in the Maritimes. Like, I, as a 6'5", 200 and something pound guy, can't find shirts and shoes in my size, right? They only order what's going to sell and what's popular. Like, for me to find a 2X shirt around here, I gotta, rob. I can't, right? I gotta buy my shit online or buy it elsewhere in the country. So, not that it gives Maybelline or, any of these other, CoverGirl a pass, because they should have tried harder. But yeah, I don't think it's just now that black women are saying, yeah, we won. I don't think that's the case at all. I think that they've just made do. There've been a lot of small black companies that have been making product, but Fenty had that clout to kind of force people to take notice.
Yeah, and like, you have to look at like who she is as a whole, right? Like,
yes,
like her as an entity. Like, that's just think of the pitch meeting for that. Yo, look, we're gonna make makeup for every black woman in every different shade, and I'm gonna handle the marketing campaign for it.
And she's now moved on to skincare too, so she did do both, which is great.
Right,
but
like, that's crazy.
To that point too, though, the issue that still exists, what I'm finding really, really hard, is that there's still not enough available at lower price points. So I appreciate Rihanna But one bottle of foundation is $60.
Yes, it is.
At like the place that I work that I will not diss at this time. Like a Smashbox, like the Smashbox foundation that has 40 shades, it's also $58. The Maybelline ones, even though they finally have black shades, there's still only 10 shades, and it's still like, and it's like $12. So you're still making these women of color spend 6 times the amount to get their shade. And is the quality that much better? From my experience, no.
Right.
Yes, Marcus, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, so is there an option for you to buy her product direct from her, or from her website, or from Fenty Direct, or do you have to go through your distributor?
I think she's exclusively like Sephora and Ulta. I don't think she sells online.
Now there are a lot of black...
that's a problem that I think you should like try to use your blogging clout. That she could. Well, you have that is for them, and they're taking like a 45 or a 60% markup. That's not right.
I think the problem is that with things like makeup and beauty, you want to be able to sample it, test it, and make sure it's for you. Unless she's going to do some kind of promotion where you buy a bottle and you get a full refund if you try it and it's wrong. Women aren't comfortable getting something like that mailed to them, especially in something like 40 shades.
Yeah,
I just ordered a foundation based on like blindly guessing that caramel might be my color, and was lucky because I work in that industry. But to not have a store where you can test it would be like a little detrimental. Yes.
So there's quite a few websites that have developed algorithms for suits to take our dimensions. Is there not something like that on?
Well, I'm doing the research. I'm on her website. She does have some things available, but not all of her makeup, and she doesn't have the thing where you can faux try things on. Because of the pandemic, though, we did have an increase in that to almost every brand that the place that I work at sells. They have them. Like Clarins Beauty has one now where you can fake try it on. Lots of companies have started doing that where you scan a QR code in store and it'll show you what it'll look like on your face. Rihanna specifically does not.
So that should be an option for her. Where's her dev team?
Well, let's call her right up
and
say, "Hey, bad gal Riri, Black and Maritimes has some ideas."
I will say something. There's there are a lot of black women entrepreneurs trying to solve this issue. I think we should actually have some people in Canada as well. There's actually a couple of them trying to solve this issue. So we should actually have somebody regarding that, because I personally think that not just Rihanna, but there's a lot of black people trying to solve this issue. They just don't get the clout because Rihanna she's an artist. But I definitely think that there's a lot of people trying to get at this, and I think we should be able to type of expose. So if you're hearing this podcast and anybody's in the makeup industry and is black, check us out. Follow at us.
Please check us out. I have questions.
We definitely want to talk to them. We definitely have questions, but we should actually try to get people of color, especially within the business sector, that are trying to do this. Because I feel like a lot of businesses are not catered to black people. Well, there's a lot of black people trying to do business that they don't get the exposure that they should. So,
yeah, so another podcast too.
But in the same vein, I will say shout out to Selena Gomez, because she came out with a makeup line recently, and not only is hers all color inclusive, but the bottles are made for people who have different like muscle atrophies and issues, so they like people with disabilities can hold her bottles better. So she sort of one-upped it by being like 40 shades and also different shaped bottles. Done.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, we'll see that. But anyways, we're going to end up the podcast. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Comment. That helps the podcast on Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast. Comment, give us a review, like us, and let us know. Shout out to the people that have commented on Apple. That's really cool. I see in the comments and they're really cool. So thank you for that. Also, we're coming out with new merch next week. We will be models now. Most of us, not all of us, but Not me, at least. But we'll definitely get that up. And yeah, thank you for supporting us. So you guys have anything else to say?
Thanks for supporting us. Share our content whenever you see it. Invite your friends to follow our social media channels. If you hear a podcast that you like or a show, click that forward button, send it to someone else, help spread the word. We're just trying to spread awareness throughout the Maritimes and show that we're here and that we're different. And thanks for tuning in.
Yo, I got a new episode 2 of my
Marcus's musings.
Yeah, well, my musings, but I don't know what, is it a side thing? Is it a additional content produced by the
segment? I would call it a segment.
Okay. So let's try this again. So my segment's out. Episode 2's up on our YouTube. Check it out. Leave some comments. That'd be cool. Check. And in the red zone in the pandemic, we are still active as ever online. Yeah. Subscribe to all of us. Thanks for checking us out. Happy birthday, Hillary.
Thank you. Crapberry on everything. Thanks to everyone who shares and comments on my blog post for Black in the Maritimes. That's been awesome to get so much good feedback. I've decided to do a dating related series for February, and I think I've written some of my best work, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you follow us also not on all social medias, but also TikTok, Black in the Maritimes, because I'm very proud of it. And that's it.
Alon?
Yeah, check out my band Echo 7. I Am the Trees, our single that's out now. We do have new music coming in February, waiting for this COVID thing to go back to orange so we can actually shoot the video. But we do have 3 new songs coming in the beginning of this year. Check us out on Bandcamp. You can stream and purchase there. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Straight up, man. I'm excited. I'm fucking dumb. It's ooh, he just dropped some news. Ooh.
So check us out on Bandcamp and Echo 7 merch on Teespring, and echo7band.com is the website. So that's about it.
All right, guys. Peace.
Peace out.